Your savings account can show a positive interest rate and still make you poorer in real life. High-yield savings accounts feel like a win. Your cash is not sitting completely idle. It earns interest. The balance inches upward. And compared with a normal checking account, the rate can look surprisingly generous. But the number on the screen is not the full story. The real question is not only whether your balance is growing. The real question is what that balance can buy. This is the difference between a nominal return and a real return. Nominal return is the rate you see advertised. Real return is what you have left after inflation changes the value of money. Imagine you put $1,000 into a high-yield savings account, earning 4% in a year. At the end of the year, before taxes, you have about $1,040. That sounds better than doing nothing. Now imagine prices in your life rise by 5% over that same year. The things that used to cost $1,000 now cost about $1,050. Your account grew, but the world got more expensive faster. In dollars, you gained 40. In purchasing power, you fell behind. You have more money than before, but slightly less buying ability than before. That is a negative real return. This feels strange because bank balances are easy to see, but purchasing power is invisible. Your app shows interest paid. It does not show the smaller amount of gas, rent, food, or repairs your dollars may buy later. Think of money like a measuring tape. If the tape secretly shrank every year, your measurements would look bigger, but your real-world result would not improve. Inflation is like that shrinkage in the measuring tool. Inflation is usually discussed as one number, but your personal inflation may feel different. Rent, groceries, insurance, utilities, and medical costs do not all rise at the same speed. Your real experience depends on what you actually buy. This does not mean a high-yield savings account is useless. It just means we have to understand its job. A savings account is mainly for safety, access, and stability. It is not designed to be a powerful wealth-building engine. High-yield savings accounts are popular because they let cash stay liquid. You can keep money ready for emergencies, upcoming bills, taxes, home repairs, travel, or a down payment timeline that is too short for risky investments. The trade-off is that safety has a cost. Cash usually does not bounce around like stocks or crypto, but because it is stable, it often offers a lower long-term return than assets that carry more risk. If this kind of plain English money breakdown is helpful, consider subscribing. The goal here is to make financial concepts feel less mysterious, one practical idea at a time. Another common misunderstanding is thinking the advertised APY is the same as your true profit. APY tells you the yearly percentage yield before considering inflation and usually before considering taxes. In many cases, interest from a savings account is taxable income. That means the interest you earn may be reduced by taxes before you ever compare it with inflation, so the real after-tax return can be lower than the headline rate. Go back to the $1,000 example. If you earn $40 of interest, you may not keep the full $40 after taxes. If prices are also rising, your purchasing power has to clear 2 hurdles, not 1. A simple way to think about real return is this. Start with your savings yield, subtract the inflation you experience, and remember that taxes may reduce the yield first. It is not perfect math, but it gives the right intuition. This is why a positive APY can still mean a negative real return. The bank is paying you more dollars. Inflation is quietly changing what each dollar can do. If the second force is stronger, you lose ground. Banks usually advertise the nominal yield because it is simple, clear, and directly controlled by the account terms. Your real return depends on inflation, taxes, and your spending life. That makes it personal and harder to put on a sign. When too much money sits in cash for too long, investors sometimes call it cash drag. The cash feels safe, but it may pull down your overall progress if it is money you will not need for many years. But emergency cash should be judged differently from long-term investments. The purpose of an emergency fund is not to beat inflation every year. Its purpose is to be there when life breaks something expensive. In that sense, emergency savings are closer to insurance than an investment. You hope you do not need to use the money, but if your car fails, your job changes, or a medical bill appears, fast access can be more valuable than a higher return. The mistake is not keeping cash. The mistake is confusing cash with a long-term growth plan. Money needed soon has different rules from money meant for 10, 20, or 30 years in the future. For short time horizons, stability matters a lot. If you need the money soon, a big market drop at the wrong time can be worse than losing a little purchasing power to inflation. The right tool depends on the job. For longer time horizons, inflation becomes more dangerous. A small yearly loss of purchasing power can compound over time. What feels like a minor gap in 1 year can become a major gap over decades. People often talk about compounding as a positive force, and it can be, but inflation compounds too. If prices rise again and again, the amount of money needed to maintain the same lifestyle can grow dramatically. This shows up in ordinary life. A restaurant meal costs more. A repair bill feels larger. Insurance renewals surprise you. The savings account may still be paying interest, but your real-life expenses keep setting a higher bar. One reaction is to chase the highest yield anywhere you can find it, but that can create new risks. Some products pay more because they are less liquid, less protected, more complex, or tied to market risk. A higher return is rarely free. Before moving cash, it helps to ask what you are giving up. Are you losing access? Are you taking credit risk? Are you accepting price swings? Are there fees, lockups, or confusing rules? A practical way to think about this is to separate money by purpose. Cash for bills and emergencies can stay in safe, liquid places. Money for medium-term goals may need a different plan. Money for long-term growth may need exposure to assets that have a chance to outpace inflation. Inflation is the benchmark cash has to beat if you care about purchasing power. If your savings yield is below inflation after taxes, the account may still be useful, but it is not increasing your real wealth. Even when the real return is negative, a high-yield savings account can still be better than earning almost nothing. Losing less purchasing power is still better than losing more. The key is knowing what problem the account is solving. So the balanced view is simple. High-yield savings accounts can be excellent parking places for cash. They can reduce the damage from inflation compared with low-interest accounts, but they do not magically protect you from the full effect of rising prices. The number that matters most is not just the APY. It is the after-tax return compared with the inflation you actually experience. That is the difference between seeing more dollars and having more real purchasing power. If you have questions about savings accounts, inflation, emergency funds, or where cash fits in a financial plan, leave a comment below. And if there is another money concept you want explained in plain English, suggest the next topic.